And welcome to the first edition of Film Fighters out here on Radio Titans Podcast Network, coming out of our studios in Los Angeles. I'm Carl Kozlowski, and I've gathered four of the most opinionated people I know. And this is our first little promo episode, just to give you a taste of where we're coming from. And I'm a film critic with the Pasadena Weekly, as well as a few other websites. And with me today, to my right, is Kira Tidwell. And tell us about yourself, Kira.
I'm from Alabama. I moved out here to do movie makeup and found myself into another job, which I think most LA people come out here for one thing and then end up doing something totally different. Movie prop preservation. So films, or I work with individual clients or auction houses that give us messed up props, and I fix them and make them nice again. Or try to make them look original again as possible without taking away from what it once was.
Like a mortician.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, that is so cool. I want an entire show about that.
Thank you. I'll talk more about it. Maybe I have some I'm working on right now, but it's hush hush.
Oh.
So.
And to her right is Tiffany Selby. Tell us about yourself, Tiffany.
Hi there. I don't do much. I'm more of like a movie buff. I'm originally from Philadelphia. I've been in Los Angeles for about 5 years now. And I just watch a lot of movies, and I'm very opinionated. So...
okay.
Yeah.
And how about Zoe Hewitt? Tell us about yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Zoe Hewitt. First of all, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at RealZoeHewitt. And I'm also a movie writer. I do video movie reviews every week as well for outlets including Pasadena Weekly as well as several others. I've written for Variety. I've worked with Good Morning America doing red carpet reviews. And mostly I tend to focus on themes and symbolism in movies. And I love big popcorn flicks. I know they're not the ones with lots of themes and symbolism, but I love them.
All right.
They can be, though.
They can be.
I love Transformers 5 for that reason. I'm serious.
And that would be Joe Black. Tell us about yourself.
My name's Joe Black. I've been out here 5 years. I'm originally from Jacksonville, Florida. I'm an independent filmmaker. Yeah. You
made you're really prolific. I mean, you made how many movies now?
12.
Dang. Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So folks, we're going to be basically talking about film in all sorts of ways and some other aspects of pop culture every week. But just to introduce ourselves, I guess we're going to kind of share what each of us saw. So I'll just go with Zoe first because you've seen something that's really fresh.
So I have seen something current. I just saw Thor-Ragnarok, and I am upfront in saying that I am not a big comic book person. I don't know all the little details of the worlds, but I do love, like I said, popcorn flicks. And even though I've had some superhero fatigue, I actually loved this movie. I thought it was really fun. It was really well done. And I know that some big comic book fans haven't been happy with it, like in early comments, because of the humor. But actually, that's why I loved it. I thought that this had a really irreverent take, not as much as Deadpool, but definitely like back to Iron Man, which to me really started off the big superhero movie kick. I thought it sort of went back to that of like lots of just fun and jokes. The other thing I really noticed is that I think a lot of times when they do these worlds where things are supposed to be so over the top, sometimes they can be difficult to watch, that it's so much happening that it can be almost like overwhelming to look at. And I think they actually did a really good job of making Sakaar look watchable. So as funny as that may sound, it was actually, I thought, really well done. And they had a lot of great movie references, like back to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory from 1971. Love that movie. So things that you can't miss, some things that if you're really into these movies, you'll definitely catch even more of. But I thought it was totally fun. I loved it.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm going to check it out tonight. And for some reason, I kept thinking it was Thor-Ragnarok. But okay, that went over like a lead balloon.
And actually, also because I did say I like to talk about themes and symbolism, I do want to add that I don't think this movie has a lot of that. But I will say that. But the reason I bring it up is because I think Marvel in particular really tries hard to imbue their superhero movies with that. So I thought like Captain America Civil War had a lot of really great themes in it, and that they really tried to delve below the surface. This one, though, like I said, I think is a more sort of basic in that regard superhero movie, but fun.
You said Civil War.
Civil War, yeah.
Because I thought Winter Soldier for sure had a lot of that going on, like wearing like SWAT riot gear and taking it off her head, and she's like, "This thing was crushing my brain," or talking about who the real enemy is, and you see a senator walking out of a bank. But I don't know.
Well, it's the continuation.
Yeah.
So, I think it continues, and like in those movies, to me, it's really like a question of loyalty and who deserves loyalty and when should you stop feeling loyal. So anyway.
Yeah, well, I saw one of the pretty much the big movie for this weekend, Suburbicon, the other night, and that's one that has it's almost too much symbolism. It's like everything is like meant to be a symbolic lesson, even though it is kind of funny. It's by the Coen. Originally, they wrote it, and there was some reason why it couldn't get made for a long time. And out of like 29 movies they've written, this is like one of only 5 that they didn't direct themselves. So George Clooney took it on with his partner
Grant
in
Heslov.
films, and Matt Damon's in it, playing really against type as this really like kind of stoic and mysteriously bitter suburban guy. And basically the story is following his kid as this little boy who basically in 1959 in this perfect suburban town in the middle, they don't really say where, somewhere in America called Suburbicon, and everybody's like, yes, we come from all over, and they're all white bread, of course, to the max, and from all over America. And then one black family moves in, and everybody's like totally freaking out. And at the same time, the little boy is told by his mom, played by Julianne Moore, to go play with the boy in the black family, and basically. It's a contrast between what happens between the rioting of all the white people in the suburb against the black family, and then this little boy, like he comes home and a mysterious thing happens that a couple guys, without explaining why they're doing it, and they wind up trying to poison the family. And when the kid comes to in a hospital, his mom's dead, and he has to figure out what happened. And so it's like I'm trying to be a mystery and a comedy and like a racial allegory all in one, and it's kind of interesting, but I think it's just all over the map, and not really sure if I'd really recommend it to anybody unless you're really a big Coen Brothers fan. I mean, I give it props for having a lot of ideas, but I think a lot of people will be like scratching their heads going, what the hell just happened for 2 hours? So, anyways, how about you, Kira? What have you seen last?
Actually, just last night, I Netflixed 1922.
I want to see that.
My mom saw that; she was raving about it. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Should I tell you guys what happens, or I'll tell you?
What's about?
It's pretty much it's a ghost film, pretty much, and I love ghost films, but I think this one was kind of slow. Like the whole he ends up convincing his son to kill his wife for money purposes, and in the scene that they killed the wife, it was actually pretty gruesome. Like they were like, it's gonna be real quick, and then it was like not quick and pretty crazy. And so I found those scenes kind of interesting, but the actual scenes with the ghost, like I was kind of disappointed in those. I just like there was one scene where she's like coming at him and there's like rats everywhere, and like that's the whole thing is rats, because she was in one of the scenes where when they kill her, they throw her into a well, and there's like rats eating at her, and so it's like the rats are down. So that was kind of eerie. But when they actually see her, and then when she's coming at him, and you're like, oh, something crazy is about to happen, and then she just whispers in his ear and kind of tells him what's going on with her son, because the son ends up running away with that. And I don't know, I didn't really like get so into it, It's Thomas Jane is in it, and I love him, and he has this crazy southern accent, so you can't say very sling blade-ish a little bit, like I'm just like, what is he saying? What's going on now? So I don't know how to feel about it.
What, was this an actual Netflix movie, like one of their own productions?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what I think about a lot of those, man. It's like I think they tried too many of them. I don't know if they really hold up as well as they think they do.
I thought Okja, which was a Netflix movie, I think that's one of the best movies of the year.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't. That one, that broke
How
my
was
heart.
War Machine? Anybody see that?
No.
Okay. How about you, Tiff?
The movie that I saw was an old one, and it was in the Hollywood Cemetery last Saturday. The 1968 zombie movie, Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, nice.
Was it the 4K remaster?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. It was pretty. It was pretty sweet. I had never seen that movie before. I'm not really into zombie movies, But it was just cool to see, like, you saw when you watched that movie how it influenced, you know, Michael Jackson's Thriller or just, like, other zombie movies that came after it, because it was pretty, like, low budget considering, you know, 1968. But it was still a good story, even though it was just like, you know, zombies coming to eat us. So I enjoyed that very much. So it was a pretty good movie.
I heard that it was like the first or one of the first movies ever to have a black hero.
I think so.
Huh,
yeah. It was one funny part in the movie where it's like, you know, it was filmed in the 60s and the black dude just hauls off and smacks the white lady character. I was like, oh my God, it was pretty ballsy. So it was cool. I enjoyed seeing the movie, even though it was an old one.
It's my wife's favorite movie.
Yeah.
She also likes The Green Mile.
That's a good one.
So what's your what'd you see last, Joe?
I saw Leatherface, the new Leatherface,
Nice.
the Texas Chainsaw prequel with Lily Taylor and Stephen Dorff. Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Actually, I'm not a horror fan, and
Really?
it was I'm really not.
What do you like about the Chainsaw movies? Because you were telling me a couple of days ago that you love every one of them except for one.
I do. It's 43 years old, and it's still just as effective. I actually don't think, I mean, I get a lot of flack for this, I don't think Psycho is still effective. I don't think that even The Exorcist is still as effective as it was when it came out. But that movie is so realistic and it gives you no breadcrumbs, so when everything happens, it still gets you. And then they followed it up with an insanely cartoonish sequel, and the fact that they completely jumped ship like that, but it still worked. I mean, that really impressed me. And then you look at the talent that they got for 3 and 4. You've got Viggo Mortensen,
I heard McConaughey and
McConaughey and Zellweger, yeah.
Wow.
And then what I liked about the remake, the first remake, was that they went all movie. They just totally made it about style and flash, but it's still, you know, like it gave you the goods, and it didn't have as many tropes, even though it was all style. But then the prequel, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, I think is the best one. Which that whole film is about how America in the late 60s, through Vietnam, through their own idea of modern horror, and how Hollywood started celebrating, or it started by reflecting it, but then just began celebrating it, and that's why we're in the position we are in now, where things are, you know, arguably worse than ever. It's brilliant. It's directed by the guy who directed the Ninja Turtles remake. Then 3D.
What everybody's been crying out for.
Well, but then 3D, the one that I don't like, that was terrible. It was a Rob Zombie ripoff, which is ironic because people have always given him flack for ripping off Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But this newest one, what I loved is that they took the time to make sure that everything in it was explained and made sense, and that there were no plot holes. And it was an obviously underfunded movie that nobody cared about. You know, in the fact that the people making it cared enough to make sure that everything made sense. That said a lot to me, especially when movies like Blade Runner, which is $150 million, was so stupid and so full of plot holes. You know, like, I felt disrespected by even though I saw it for free, I was just like, give me my money back.
Wow.
Yeah, like, and the fact that Leatherface dared to make sure that it had purpose and that it had reason and that everything made sense. You know, sure, it's got a couple crappy lines and some of the costumes are pretty cheap looking, but I'll take purpose and content over execution.
And you saw that the Sunset 5 where you can actually like enjoy gourmet food while watching this, watching the people get chainsawed. So
yeah, but they didn't turn down the lights after the trailer, and I was like, I'll wait till it gets boring and I'll run out to tell them to turn down the lights, but then it wasn't getting boring, so I had to run out and be like, turn. I was the only person in the theater though, so.
Oh my God, stop. Oh, I hate that. Because like, you don't want to leave.
Right, yeah, I can't like turn around and ask the person behind me, what happened while I was gone?
I get more pissy if something's wrong and I'm the only one in the theater, or just about the only one. I'm like, come on, you know, like I throw a big diva fit over it because, come on, do you know? I'm here on my own.
That's actually, I think, the big problem. Everybody's fighting to championing, like, bring back film. You know, everything's digital projection, blah, 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 and people want to go on Netflix or something like that instead of going to a theater. I think that the problem is that theaters are too much and that they don't care enough about presentation anymore. Like, you know, it costs $14 to go see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and you don't turn down the lights? Come on. You don't mask your movie screen properly? I can see the edges of the screen? Come on. Give a damn. That's all I'm asking.
All right. Well, we all give a damn, and we're going to be back next week with we'll actually be on time and do a whole hour of debate over all sorts of stuff. So just look forward to catching up with everybody next week. And till then, thanks. This has been Film Fighters on Radio Titans. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.